Good morning and welcome to Zen Fit's beautiful Wednesday morning in Blackstone, the center of the world, but then you too are at the center of the world. Now, I got my Christmas tree lit, but then it stays up all year. Actually, it's a Christmas tree of a friend of mine who had no place to put it, so we just left it up all year, and we just turned the lights on for Christmas, but then every day's Christmas here. So the Zen Fit for today, which I'm excited about, is we are in the theater of the absurd. Things are getting absurd. This is an existentialist idea, the absurd. I don't want to get into that because we can look around and see how absurd things are, and getting worse. So it kind of like, and the other idea that I'm working with in conjunction with this absurd is the end of times. Are we in the end of times? Now, religion, evangelicals use that, but they use it in the end of the world. But history runs in times. History runs in segments. The end and another. History doesn't end. Time doesn't end. Time doesn't end. But the chapters of time change. So we're in a time, it's like a book. And I've been writing about and talking about the cover and the end of this Nixon and Trump. And so we're closing in on the end of the book that's been our history for the last 50 years. Nixon opened it, Trump's closing it. But at the end, things get absurd. A caterpillar, let me get, so you can see my website here. There you go. See, all my posts are on my blog with the writing that I do during the morning with my working metaphor, with my idea, and then there's the talk on it. So it's all there if you want to go back, catch it, or share it. Anyway, so the idea of the caterpillar, and this is not just me, I mean this is known, but when we get close to death, things get absurd. The caterpillar, before it becomes a butterfly, gets very dysfunctional. It's like it doubles down on being the worm. So this idea, and I think we can experience this in our own life, I know I can, is that when you get close to the end of your game, when you get close to being revealed, when you get close to being exposed in your game, in your con, in your delusion, you get a little crazy. People get angry, they get violent, they shoot people, they go nuts. That's the end of time. That's the end of time. When you start out in your time segment, your span of history, of being strong. You got a strength. You got something that works. You got something that makes you succeed. You got a power. And you expand, and you grow, and you include, and you build, but at some point the rubber band stretches to the point where it begins to go back, you see. The balloon can only expand so much before the pressure makes it retreat. The tide can only go so far before it must come back. The sine wave. What goes up, goes down. Life is a sine wave, a crest and a valley. Life is not like that. That's death. Life is like this. You can go to the hospital and look at the monitor up there. You're alive. If it goes flatline, you're dead. You see. Life is alternating current, not direct current, you see. But seeing is direct current, but then I digress. Okay, so we're recognizing the fact that life and history goes like that, cycles. So we go up and then we go down. So when we go up and we turn, the turning point and go, that's the end of times going up. Now we're going down. Life is like that. I mean, I'll be 83 next week, so I'm going down. You go up to 50 and then you go down. And the strategies and the power and the strength of going down is different from going. If you try to use the strength and the power of going up when you're going down, you're going to be dysfunctional. If you try to use the powers that made you go to the top when you're going down, you're going to be dysfunctional. The worm doubles down on the worm before it becomes the butterfly. So we're in the end of times because when you double down on your strength, at the end of your cycle, we double down on the strength because we know the end is coming, death is coming. What do? I got to double down on my strength. You see, my strength, my power that got me so far. But now, when the cycle returns, everything turns into its opposite. You see, when you're going up, up is up, but then when you turn over on the roller coaster, going up is now it's going, you see. So all of that, just look at the roller coaster, it's so interesting. You're going up, we're going up, we're going up, we're going up, we're going up. Oh, I feel so good. What's been released? Well, the tension of going up has been released. So we're going up, Trump is going up, Trump is going up, the towers, Trump is everywhere, stakes, games, everything, Trump, 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 I'm going up, I'm everywhere, Trump says I'm everywhere, you see. And now, impeachment. Now, we're going down, what do? We double down on the strength. And when you double down on the strength that brought you up, the strength now becomes your weakness. So you double down on your weakness and you get dysfunctional. You become absurd. So the theater of the absurd is when we approach the end of our time, the end of our game, whether it's collective or personal, we approach that end and we feel death coming. We feel death coming, you see. What do? Well, we have to get strong to fight off death. We have to turn things around. So we double down on the shovel that brought us up to this point. But now, the shovel that used to shovel the dirt out is shoveling the dirt in. Wait a minute, we're losing, so we double down more. And we lose more, we become absurd. We become absurd because we're using our weakness as a strength. Now, what's the strength of the Republican Party that has been bookended between Nixon and Trump? We're looking at 50 years here. And of course, we're just playing with analogy here, so don't get real picky about it. Just try and get the big picture. Don't focus in on the nits and the gnats. Say, oh no, what, just get the big picture. Just look. The big picture is now the strength of the Republican Party. It's been the strength of the British redcoats. Everyone walks in lockstep. Newt Gingrich, I remember, militarized the Republican Congress against Clinton by putting out talking points. So every Republican on the media talked the same talk. Oh, well, it must be true because they're all saying it. See, he said it, he says, they all can't be reading a script. They're all speaking the truth, you see. Must be true. Loyalty is the strength of the Republican Party. Single-mindedness. Redcoats marching as a regiment. Nobody runs. Nobody retreats. Nobody's out of step. Everybody walks in lockstep. That is the strength of the Republican Party. The Democrats' strength has always been their diversity. So they're kind of more like, they've always been more like a rabble, a rebel, a babble. Kind of like tribal things, these different tribes. And once in a while they all unite, but they split apart again. Republicans, redcoats marching against the tribes, you see, because they're not organized. Redcoats are organized. So the GOP strength has been loyalty. But now, at the end of time, their loyalty, which they're doubling down on, you see, we're watching it real time, They're doubling down on the lie of Trump. They're doubling down on Trump. They're doubling down on the president. They're doubling down on loyalty. Nobody breaks ranks. Because that would be, if one breaks ranks, the whole army falls apart and they all flee. You see? So the con man, this is the strength of the con man. The con man does not doubt, does not shake, does not quiver against his con. He holds it, even to the death chamber. Even if he's sitting in the electric chair, he will hold the con and say, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. Because at the last minute, you see, they might say, well, if he's looking at death and he still says he's innocent, he must be innocent. Otherwise, he'd say, oh, no, I was lying, I did it. The con man's con, his strength, is never admit the con. Even to death, you hold the con, you see. So this has kind of like been the strength of the GOP now. Hold the con. Don't admit it. Don't question it. Keep doubt out. The Trump wall is to keep doubt out. To keep the question out, you see. Questions on the other side. Conviction on this side. We're one. Conviction, no doubt. We're one. Keep doubt out there. Put the wall up. Keep out the question. Keep out the investigation. Keep out the inquiry. Keep out doubt, you see. Isn't that interesting? So we're looking at the end of time, I think, because things are getting absurd. And they're moving very fast. It's moving very fast. It's real-time drama. There is a conflict. There is a clash of worlds going on right now. Cosmic clash. Just like Zoroaster. Zoroaster was the prophet of Zoroastrianism, which was the religion and mythology of ancient Persia. It was the first mythology to divide the cosmos into a war of light against darkness, goodness against evil. And this war, and by the way, the Jews were, boy am I digressing, but just, hold on, I got a few more minutes. But anyway, so the Jews were held captive by Babylonia and the Persians, and they got this idea of the war of worlds, you see, from Zoroaster, which was 500 years older, you know. And it was the so the idea is the mythology and the idea that the cosmos is a war against goodness and evil, light against God, God against the devil. These two, the world is split into two, warring against each other, and the light side will consume the darkness. The light will consume the darkness. You see, at the end of time, Armageddon. So you better be on the side of light. You better be on the good side. But you can't have the light side without the dark side. You can't have the justification of the light side without the evil of the dark side. You see, and so our country is divided into this mythology of Zoroaster, of Persia. Ironic, isn't it? Persia is now Iran. So we've recreated the Cold War, which was light against darkness, America against USSR, against communism now. And now it's the Republican Party against socialism and communism and the evil rats, Democrats. The language I see on Facebook is not anything different from the language Hitler used against the Jews. Think about that. The language is that of goodness against darkness, against evil, the loss of socialism / communism means it's the same Cold War. It's the same Cold War. You see, Nixon, you know, at the end, when the Cold War ended, who is the Republican militant redcoat army going to fight now? Well, we're going to fight the liberals and the government, you see, and make them the evil. Reagan said it. Liberalism is the beginning of fascism. The government is evil. Don't invite the government in, you see. And then you bring in the religious, and then you bring in Trump. And it's all come to the theater of the absurd. The end of time, hopefully. We hope, you see, that 2020 will end Catch-22. That 2020 will add a 0 to the 2. And Catch-22, as you know, is an insane world where everybody doubles down on insanity to get out of the insanity. An insane, mad world. Well, we're in Catch-22. So all you do to end Catch-22 is add a 0 to the 2. And that restores us to ground zero. The end of the Cold War, the end of Zoroastrianism, the Persian complex, that life is a war. That life is a war. Thanks for dropping in.